You did it. You took the leap. You finally started that thing you've been circling for months. You spoke up, shared the idea, launched the project, hit post, and for a moment there was a spark. Relief, maybe even pride. You actually did it. But then it showed up. That quiet, cutting voice. Who are you to do this? Why would anyone listen to you? You don't belong here. The doubt didn't show up before you acted. It showed up because you did. That's the part no one warns you about. The fact that sometimes the hardest part isn't starting. It's what happens right after you start, when your voice starts shaking, when your heart whispers, maybe I was foolish to try. If this feels familiar, you're not alone. That voice, it visits everyone who's bold enough to begin. Here's the thing no one tells you about that voice. It sounds like truth, but it's not. It's fear. Wearing a very convincing mask, fear is clever like that. It doesn't shout, it doesn't scream. It whispers, calmly, rationally, like it's trying to protect you. Be careful. You're not ready yet. Better wait until you know more. It's tempting to listen. Because fear doesn't just say stop. It says, let's be reasonable. But here's the deeper truth. That voice isn't here to guide you. It's here to keep you small. It's not your intuition. It's not your wisdom. It's your nervous system, trained to avoid risk, doing exactly what it's designed to do. Keep you safe. Keep you hidden. Keep you quiet. And here's why it feels so convincing. Because fear is strongest after you move beyond your comfort zone. You didn't hear it when you were dreaming about your idea. You heard it when you started living it. Here's something few people realize. You don't feel like an imposter when you're standing still. You only feel it when you're moving forward. You don't get stage fright in your own kitchen. You get it when you step into the spotlight. That shaky feeling, that surge of doubt. It's not a signal you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you're doing something new, something that matters. Because you're not just repeating old patterns anymore. You're stretching, expanding, becoming. And of course that feels strange. Of course it feels like you're pretending. Because your brain hasn't caught up yet. It's still identifying with the person you were, not the person you're becoming. Imposter syndrome isn't proof you don't belong. It's proof you're standing at the edge of growth. The question isn't, am I enough? The question is, am I willing to keep going through this discomfort? Here's where most people turn back. They feel the fear. They hear the voice and they believe it, so they shrink. They edit themselves. They lower their goals, make their dreams smaller, quieter, safer. They stop sharing their work. They stop speaking their mind. They start telling themselves stories like, maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe this wasn't the right time. Maybe I'll try again later when I feel more confident. But here's the quiet truth. Silence doesn't protect you. It just postpones your voice from growing stronger. Avoidance isn't a cure for doubt. It's a contract with it. And every time you pull back, that voice gets louder because it learns something dangerous about you, that all it has to do is whisper, and you'll stop. But what if you didn't stop this time? What if, instead of silencing that voice, you met it with structure, with support, with a system built for exactly this moment? At AchvMate, we know this part of the journey. That fragile, uncomfortable space between what you feel called to build and the voice that says you're not enough to build it. That's why we created PerfectPitch. Not as a place to impress others, but as a safe space to grow your voice. It's where your messy, unfinished, half-scared ideas can take shape. Where you don't just pitch to AI investors, you connect with visionary mentors, creative technologists, and thoughtful accelerators. each one designed to help you sharpen your ideas, connect dots you didn't see, and strengthen your confidence. Because this isn't about sounding perfect. It's about becoming clear, becoming connected, becoming real. You don't need to silence the doubt completely. You just need a space where your voice can grow stronger, because you're not an imposter, you're not a fraud, you're simply a beginner in motion. And beginners deserve better systems, not harsher inner critics. Here's the truth most people never hear. Your fear isn't a sign to stop. It's a sign that you've stepped onto meaningful ground. That uncomfortable voice, it's loud because this matters to you. Of course you feel shaky. Of course you feel unsure. You're doing something your past self never dared to attempt. But here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to silence the doubt to keep going. You don't need to wait for confidence to act. Courage doesn't feel like confidence. It feels like doing the thing anyway, with your heart pounding. You're allowed to keep writing even when your words feel messy. You're allowed to keep posting even when you second-guess your message. You're allowed to keep building even when your hands are trembling. Let the fear sit in the room. Let it whisper, but don't hand it the map. You've come too far to turn back now. That voice will return. It always does. Every time you stretch, every time you step into something bigger than who you were yesterday. It's not something to eliminate, it's something to understand. That voice isn't your enemy. It's just your growing edges speaking. It's the part of you that hasn't caught up yet to the person you're becoming. So when it whispers next time, when it says, "Who are you to do this?" answer it calmly. I'm someone who's still becoming, someone who's willing to try again. You don't need to feel fearless to keep moving. You just need to keep your feet on the path, one shaky, imperfect step at a time. Because you're not being found out. You're being formed.
This is True North by AchvMate. If this message moved you, share, save, or send it to someone who's ready to begin. And when you are, visit AchvMate.app to start building your goals with clarity, momentum, and meaning.